Welcome to Key Conversations, a Making It in the Music Business podcast. My goal for this podcast is to help you learn from these conversations with both experts and working musicians and serve as a guide to assist your career in the process. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Englehart. Let's get going. Okay, welcome to a musician edition where we feature a hardworking musician who is creating their dream career, open to a little guidance, and brave enough to be in my hot seat. So today, I'm really excited to welcome Paul Joseph today of the band Surreal Nation. Paul is the band's keyboard player, right? And manager.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
So just share with people, I mean, we get the world of being in a band, but tell us like what you're up to. Is the band a full-time thing? Are you guys gigging? Are you recording? Like give us the snapshot of what's so for you right now in your music.
So right now the band is the only thing that I'm doing in music. It's a huge time suck, but it's a good time suck and I love it. So we just released an EP on February 20th. So we just toured the Northeast tour and went down to Texas for South by Southwest in support of that. Right now, we're going to just do some local stuff in Delaware and Philly. And then in the summer, we're going to hit the road again for some festivals and some stops in between.
Awesome. Love the festival and all that jazz. So who does your booking?
Me.
Manager, booker.
Yeah.
Great. So how does the process of booking and managing these tours look like for you?
Well, I'll kind of like for a tour, I'll pick like an anchor city. Like the last one we did was New York, and I'll find a place to play in the anchor city. And then I'll look within a couple hours drive of there for some other places to play. And I basically, whether it's the anchor city or outside of the city, I'll find a club that I think we would be good at. And I'll reach out to them with like a very, very specific date and time. And it's like right in the subject. So they don't like barely even have to read the email.
Nice.
And I just go from there, and it's kind of like fishing. It's just the more lines you put out, someone will say yes. Usually you have to then find local bands to support you. And that can be tough because everybody wants to play and everybody can bring in 1,000 people and, you know.
Yeah, I get it. That's awesome. It sounds like you're using something familiar. What's it called?
I believe it's called Perfect Pitch.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's it. You guys, I'm not paying Paul to plug the Perfect Pitch, but it's been working, right? Like it kind of is way better than just other ways.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it took a little tweaking because, you know, everybody's a little different, but once I figured out what works for our situation, it's been very, very helpful.
Awesome. Super cool. So when you guys are you guys all writing together? I'm going to get the world of what's the creative side of this?
The creative side of it is me and the lead guitarist, Jackson Vary. I would say the lion's share of our material we co-write. And there are a few songs that I wrote by myself or he wrote by himself. But we found the best formula for us is one of us will write a song and just pretty much have chord progression, a very basic melody and lyrics. And then the other guy gets it and chops it into a million pieces. And then we rearrange it. And that's been working for us.
Great. Cool. I love hearing how other bands get their music together. Do you guys have band contracts? So the writers share, publisher, like all the back end stuff is like handled?
Yeah, we do have a signed, legally binding contract.
Cool.
It's pretty much, I mean, even though Jackson and I are writing it, we except for our first EP, because there was different people in the band, we split it evenly, and I'm basically the band's agent. So any money we get, royalties, would go to my ASCAP account, and then I distribute it, you know, as per the contract, depending on which song it is.
That's a great way to work, considering that you have a contract in place. Like then literally anything can work as long as you guys have it in writing. So kudos to having all the ducks in the row there. Nice job.
Thanks.
So what's the ideal? You've heard me say, what's the magic? I hit you on the head with a magic wand. What's the poof? What's the picture of the perfect career looking like for you guys, for you in particular?
I knew you were going to ask this and one more, and I'm prepared.
Oh, great.
What we would like to do is, the way Jackson and I put it is, we want to put on our tax forms that we are musicians. Like, that is where the majority of our income is coming from. And, we want to do that through shows and through, sales, be it streaming or otherwise, and licensing, which we've been pretty successful with licensing so far with this new EP.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're like well on your way. So my next question obviously is then, what's missing that you're not writing it on your tax form yet, that you are making all your money there?
Well, what's missing is we're not making enough money to write it on our tax form. I think, and you have to understand, a year ago, we didn't even have a picture of the five of us, like a decent picture of the five of us. So we really, after I took MX4, which was about a year ago, it was kind of like deconstruct the entire band and just start from the ground up. And that's what we did, because it was a mess. And now it's not. And so, now we're starting to see some more money trickle in, get some better paying stuff. And I think it's really just time is what's missing. It's just patience.
Yeah. Doing the work. So which is fine. And you're on an upward trajectory. And if you're seeing the successes and small opportunities turn into more opportunities, sometimes small opportunities turn into bigger opportunities. Sometimes it's a quantity thing. Sometimes it's a quality thing. And if you're just out there, moving, I'm a big fan of motion.
Yes.
and forward motion. So that's awesome. This is all making me very happy, because I didn't, I saw you for a hot second at South by, but it was like running to all the things. So I didn't get to hear all the updates, which is really exciting to hear. So
and I was your skeptic. Remember that when I took the class?
Yeah, you were like, I don't know if you can do anything for me. And I was like, okay, if I can't, then I'll give you your money back, but let's just try it. So let's see.
Yeah. And I, again, she's not paying me. And I took the full MX4 class, and then I took the modulate, the shorter one, and I have not asked for a penny back.
Oh,
and I don't plan on it.
Great. Cross you off my hit list.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That makes me really happy. This is why I'm doing this. So tell me quickly, what are the licensing successes you've had, and how have you gone about getting those?
Okay. Well, with the new record, we worked with Tinderbox for some of them.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, they were great. That's actually, we were meeting John DeLange, their president. That's who we just got done talking to when you saw us at the hotel.
Get out of town. That is literally the exact spot where I met him.
Yeah, I guess apparently that's like his hangout for when he was in Austin.
Uh-huh. That's so awesome. So tell me about
we did the radio thing with them, and then that was, I'd say, mildly successful. There's some things I would do differently. It wasn't anything they did. I would do some things differently with it. But then we were able to move into the licensing side, and we signed licenses with NASCAR and the Discovery Network.
Sweet.
And those are blanket licenses. So, you got to wait till they use it, if they use it. And then Song Trader, which I learned about through MX4. I think we interviewed, their A&R person at one point.
Yeah, there's a podcast episode with I have to look it up because it's been so many, but yeah, someone on their team over there, and they were just sort of getting started, and I've been using them as well. So that's awesome. Song Trader is songtradr.com. Yeah, it's a site you can upload your music, and you can just leave it there for people to search it if you tag it well, but you can also be active on the site, which I really like, because, I'm a doer. So if I put my stuff dump it in a library, like I'm not going to sit there and twiddle my thumbs and wait for someone to find it. You can actually go look at the listings, which is really cool. So how did you do? Did people find your stuff, or were you actively searching and submitting?
Actively searching? The one that we got first was a company called Mood Media, and I think they're Canadian. And they do overhead music, like in stores. And I guess they try to do some of like the cooler stores, and they like to play a lot of indie rock. So we got on a blanket license with them. And there's other stuff pending. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to jinx it. So nothing in stone yet, but there's some good things pending with them too.
Great.
And then another one we did through Sonic Bids, which was actually a song off of our old record that we actually have a publishing contract on that we've had for a couple years. And this was, they heard it on Sonic Bids and they're using it it's like an online television show.
Great.
So yeah,
Awesome.
Licensing is good. You just have to, see some results from it, but
yeah. And it sounds like your strategy, which is, your fishing analogy, which I love, is, throwing out more lines or casting big nets. I don't fish, whatever the analogy was. Get more fishes.
I used lines, yeah, but nets work too.
You're doing the same thing there, and it sounds like it's working. But what I like about this strategy of, if you're going to take on a strategy of like, let's cast out as many lines, let's make it a quantity game, then you got to be a little bit more focused, because you can't do that in every area of the music industry, casting out multiple lines in this area, this area, this area. So if you're doing that for getting gigs, for licensing, and and maybe that's it, then you're gonna be able to play the quantity game without getting overwhelmed. Because you sound pretty chill. Like, you don't sound like you're high strung. Like, it sounds like there's a strategy in place, and it sounds like the strategy is focus on touring, focus on licensing, and in the middle you're creating the music and working with the band. But it sounds like it's working.
It is. The rest of the band's going to crack up when they hear that, when you just called me not high strung and pretty chill.
Okay.
It's totally not me, but it's how I get stuff done. I, just kind of get focused on something. And you're absolutely right. You can't heavily focus on so many different aspects, so right now my heavy focus is on shows, be it festivals, conferences, whatever, and licensing. I could be doing the same thing with sales and with streaming revenue, but I don't know. I seem to be doing better with these two things. So, that's there. People can buy it. They can stream it, but
yeah. And those, you get more fans from your shows. They're going to want to get on your email list. You're going to, ideally you're working hard on the email stuff and getting people to, see your stuff there. And if you do well with the licensing, that's going to increase fans. So they all sort of like feed into each other. But yeah, you could work on getting more Facebook likes. You could work on getting more streams on Spotify. You could there are all these other like millions of ways. And, there's tons and tons of stuff out there that tells you how many thousands of different ways you can make money with music, but that doesn't serve you if you can't, if you're not motivated to do that stuff. And you already have evidence that this is working. So, one of my favorite sayings, do more of what works and less of what's not working. So you've got two things that are working. So yeah, growth time. So I would love to play a song of yours for everybody at the end of the podcast. And I know you've got one ready. What is the song called? Is there anything we need to know about it? Or is there anything cool that you can give us inside scoop to?
Yeah. The song is called Hang Time, and it's on our new EP, which is called I Know Better, and it's available everywhere music is sold. This is one of the songs that Jackson wrote on his own when he was doing the singer-songwriter thing. And I was actually a fan of his. So I knew the song and I liked the song. And at one point, there's 5 of us now. The band was 2 people at one point, and we wanted a bass player. So I asked him to just a session musician, play bass on our record. And, he's stayed on ever since. And when we were thinking of what songs to put on the record, the new one, I had brought this up because I really, really like it. So we just changed the key because our singer is she's going to get mad at me if I get it wrong, but I think she's a soprano. So we had to, we changed the key and changed the melody a little bit. And this is one of the more popular songs that people like on it.
Awesome. So we can find you at surrealnationmusic.com, right?
Yes.
And on the show's page and in all the show's notes, I'm going to link to all their social and everything so you guys can find Paul and Surreal Nation. So we'll link to all this stuff. So yeah, we'll take a listen to the song. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm really excited for you and everything that's moving forward. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right.
Hello?
Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and YouTube if you like this podcast. Musicians like you keep me inspired and motivated, and for doing that, I'm offering you a free 6-page guide to pitching. This guide will unlock the keys to priming your pitch, where you can get started getting a yes when you pitch anything to anyone. Grab it at inthekey.co/prime. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time on Key Conversations. The theme song on this podcast was provided by yours truly. If you're interested to find out more about my composing and songwriting projects, go to inthekey.co/Cheryl. If you're a musician looking to get some real results for your music career, then head to inthekey.co/results, where I've created a bunch of different kinds of resources just for you. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their point-and-click editor. All of the features you can imagine for a possible website are built in. So, because you're a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special month free trial plus 15% off if you do decide to sign up, just for you. Go to inthekey.co/make-a-site to get the offer.
If it was anything more than nothing.